Okay, so good morning, everyone. As usual, so this workshop with the library video will be also on Educandos. You can go back there to check again how to access. So it is easy to access. As you have seen, you have to register and then access with your own email and password, and I would suggest you concentrate on looking up articles on journals for the time being, just to be more precise. We will look for research articles. Research articles are mostly printed on journals, not on books. Therefore, book chapters probably refers to something else. They might refer to data, to some kind of research, but it is, I would recommend that we connect to journals and try to look for information there. Yes, it will be more precise, more to the point. Just to narrow down the possibilities of search. And of course, not be videos either. Yes, we will not probably, so we were explained all of the resources. Probably when you are already writing your final version, the version of your work, we might be in the position of searching videos and dissertations, for example. But that takes a longer time, so we will concentrate on journals for the time being, so as to use time wisely. Tenemos que usar el tiempo estratégicamente y dedicarnos a ir a los recursos que nos van a ayudar a usar el tiempo. Yes, so we're focusing on research articles on journals, on academic journals. Okay, as usual, well, we know the organization of the week, as usual, what every week I remind you, and module evaluations. I have made some changes so that I have also more time to give you feedback and be able to upload grades. So we are in the situation of finishing workshop 1. There was different feedback given to different students and groups of students that need to make arrangements and upload workshop 1 task again. You still have the commitment to finishing the tasks, and we are going to make sure you can finish task 4. And we will have a snapshot of workshop 2, which includes the search for more academic research articles. Okay, so in the snapshot of our work, we are here. We need to go through another topic. That's why it will be only an introduction to workshop 2. Hopefully we have time to get there. If not, we will continue next week before the autonomous work. And therefore, we will be able to not be behind, so much behind. Okay, so far, all of these tasks have been introduced to you. Task 4 is the one we are concentrating today, just because we have an element of search that we can finish today, or at the least get advanced with. And so it was important to do this workshop. And workshop task 1, you already received feedback. And as I said, you're at different stages. Some of you are done, some others are still in the process. So, but that's okay, under control. And grades should be uploaded by next week, by the beginning of next week, hopefully. Okay, any other questions in regards evaluations? Everything you have to do with the tasks is just finish them and upload them to the correct week, all of the tasks, so that I am able to see and to see them, correct them, and grade them. Remember, the evaluation with the tasks is cumulative, and therefore we will have an average. So el average es el promedio. Therefore, the final grade is the average of all your tasks, of the 4 tasks you have finished. Well, you need to have finished. So that is why I have made sure you all of you have equal opportunities, access to all the information, and you have access to feedback to improve what you have done. So therefore, in that way, we are sure you get the best grade possible in every task, and you have the best average. Average is el promedio. Okay. Then last week, do you remember we presented task 4, and you were working with certain sections of task 4 until we had to get to search for an article. Moreover, there was also a challenge. Yes, there was also a challenge, and that means, so the challenge is to think what might we be interested in researching. So this is a moment of reflection for you, for the pairs working together. You will need to, again, work in pairs. You will let me know how are you going to organize yourselves for the work. And therefore, you need to come to agreements. What is the topic that you're interested in? Have you noticed something that you're interested in researching? What other questions can we make? Has something called your attention? For example, in the practicum, you are all doing practicum of different kinds. Students in early childhood education also do practicum, and the elementary school education program students also do practicum. That is one of the sources for us to have questions, to get interested in topics, or just observing reality. And we have seen briefly weeks ago some abstracts to different kinds of research articles in which you saw different kinds of studies being conducted according to different interests on the part of academicians. So this is what you are in the position of doing or thinking or reflecting. Yes, so this is, we need some time to concentrate on that. And this was the PPT last week. We had this, remember I showed you the search in TANFONLINE. TANFONLINE showed us a long list of last year's published articles in which we saw different issues, and I showed it to you. There were issues related to technology, to virtual classes, but also to inclusion, to gender, very big topics that, as we saw today in the library workshop, that open you one door, but that's not everything. We need to narrow down that topic, but at the least we need to start with one idea, with one interest. That is why I have these 2 questions for you. What would you like to know? Yes, for example, in relation to education, about what has been done in the last years, because we will concentrate on the last years. Yes, and what has happened in relationship to, as we saw today, the example today, technology, ICT, information, computer technology, what has happened in the areas of classroom management. He mentioned, for example, those very large topics that teachers and future teachers are always interested in. Also, you are required to think of a topic you would like to know more about. Yes, to carry your web search on the internet. It would be better to come to an agreement, something that you commonly are interested in. And it can be related to something you saw in the literature or something you see in reality. Yes, and as we saw in reality, what we live in reality by means of virtual education is another very pervasive topic nowadays. Just because it's the current interest of people in general. So here you will have time to think, time to brainstorm. Would you like to brainstorm together, to think together, or in groups? You have to tell me who are you going to work with, and just let us do this exercise just because we need to finish one task, but also probably because it's the open door for future interests that you develop. It is incredible how you can get interested in topics that probably you haven't thought of before. And that happened to me when I presented my first version of research project, which has changed several times. That's also a process. And in talking to people at the college, they made me aware, helped me become aware of a topic that was there underneath what I wanted to do. So I had only got to a certain level of reflection. But in dialogic interaction, I understood that probably my topic was still further below, that there was a bigger topic there that was more interesting, that has not been researched so far or in certain depth. And therefore, that was a good opening door for a new idea. So we never know where we can find this interest, and we need to talk to others in order to reflect upon that. Yes, so that is why this is an open conversation, because we can search together for a topic or talk about certain topics, and in there you might find that there is something interesting. Yes, I am not sharing the screen. That's true. Okay, thank you, Araceli. And so, what would you like to do? Do we do a brainstorming together? We do all. Do we do a brainstorming together, or do you work with your peers? And in that sense, I will need you. Oh, so this is misplaced. In that sense, I will need you to tell me who are you going to work with. Yes. Okay. I wait for your answers. ¿Cómo?
Video.
Of the video. Yes, and you prepare videos. So that's
Yes.
the only practical possibility our classmates from the early childhood education program have of doing a practicum. So that is an experience that is unique to them. So the only way in which they can do the practicum and interact with children and their families is by means of videos. On the contrary, our students in elementary school education program have similar and different experiences. For example, Barbara, what do you do in your practicum? Explain the gaps.
This week?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, in general, what do you do?
In our practicum, we have an instance for make intervention.
Mm-hmm.
With the teacher, we have meetings for explain the job that we want made with the children. He have to us a feedback about our interventions. Also, we prepared the material for the the for the children's. But in my case, with my group, we have a chart, the unit 2
Yes,
in 5th grade.
Yes, and that's different because you have these synchronous classes with children. So the experience is different in that sense. So you have the contact with children that, for example, your classmates in the other program do not have. Araceli and Javiera, your classmates also don't have this opportunity, though they can communicate by means of videos. And this is a change that has happened in education in the later years that we have. That is an experience that we are living that we might be interested in experiencing. Just to give you an example. Okay, so would you like to brainstorm any other topics that you have seen in your practicum that are so different? Brainstorm. So one of the topics, practicum experiences, is one of the possible, just to give you one idea. Yes.
Miss, you are not sharing your screen.
Okay. So I was writing, but is there anything you would like to share about this experience or any other? So practicum experience is just to give you one topic. And you see that when you start talking, you can see that you have many different options and different experiences and realities that you see. And therefore, that can be one of the topics you could be interested in. What else would you be interested in? Which topic would you like to carry out a web search and start to do this task for, and probably your next workshop task? It could be the beginning of that. Okay, we have something here in the chat. Okay, any ideas? Would you like to write?
When I do the task, when I did, I searched about feminism in education, how we can implement that in the classrooms. So I think it's a good.
So yes, it's a topic within gender. Within gender, yes. We saw last Thursday, do you remember in my search? One of the topics was gender, and you have a myriad of opportunities within gender. You can focus on the educators, on teachers. How do they portray themselves? They are in the majority women. They are dedicated to work with children in general. We know that from general experience, from background knowledge. And therefore, gender is one, and through gender feminism, one of the topics that education has probably not dealt much with, but is coming up in the last years. What other topic do you think can be current? And you would like, or what have you seen? And you have reflected on this on your scripts. Remember, elementary school students, you have reflected on your scripts when you wrote your scripts for your videos. Remember what has called your attention in your practicum? That's also a good question. Lucas, do you have something to share?
In task 4, when we have to research for something and then explain, I researched for a document about ELL students. I think it's English language learners.
English language learners, yes.
Yes, and it is for students, Afro-American students in USA, because teachers teach them, but they don't know what's happening in the class.
The students do not know The students don't know?
Don't know.
Uh-huh.
And the document give to teacher support in how they have to teach.
Mm-hmm. How to
Like
teach
use
English language learners or African Americans?
Yeah.
The two groups.
how to teach English language
Learners.
for Afro-American students.
Or Afro-American. Okay, they are different. Probably you're dealing there with different topics, different problems, okay, with one group or the other. English language learners in the United States is a topic in the United States, which is relevant for them since the decision of many states as in regards education and how they organize education is that English language learners share the same classrooms as native speakers of English, and therefore that poses a demand on teachers that they have to teach all of these students together. Some of them are native speakers, some others are learning the language, and therefore all the problems that occur there. So yes, English language, since we are also here in the process of teaching English and learning English in general, is an interesting topic. You can also transfer later to a more to our environment here. So English language learning is a possible topic. Think of transfer the topic to our local situation, because that would be more relevant to our situation here, to a local situation. Okay, anyone else? Local situation. Anything that you saw in your practicum that has called your attention? Que les haya llamado la atención. You reflected on this. I read about this in your script, so you already know it. You don't have to say. So share your ideas. Some of you already had very good reflections in regards to your practical experiences and how children learn or don't learn about according to your observation. Anyone? Camila, Araceli. You can write as well.
I have an idea, but I don't know if it's well.
Okay.
It's about TPR, typical physical response.
Yes, TPR, yes. Total physical response, yes. Yes, so this is a very much used technique, physical response. Response is also considered as a methodology to teach English to beginner students. With my students, we also saw a lot about this in the time of the silent period, just because students cannot respond with original discourse, language use, but they can respond with physical actions. And therefore, that has also become important for us, for elementary school students, education program students, just because in thinking of very young children or children at a very elementary age level, this is one of the stages through which they go through, and therefore this is also very important. And moreover, early education, childhood students see this in still earlier, younger children and with their native language, because of course the silent period or the pre-production period is an experience that we all speakers of a language go through. Therefore, that's an interesting topic, yes, for early childhood education and beginner level language learners, yes. Okay, excellent. It's a great idea. Childhood education. Come on, you need to be quick. We need to be productive. You will be working on your own. And you will need to have you need to find some article, those that couldn't find the article up to now, today, just to finish the task for early childhood education and beginner language learners. Yes, beginner language learners in general, could be a foreign language or the native language learners. Okay, so I think if you have any other, we will see in a minute. And you had this task document for your search. We also saw it in the task in the workshop today. According to how you write your words in the search engine, is that you're going to find, you're going to include, yes, you're going to broaden your search, means open up your search. For example, if I search for education or inclusion, so I will find everything. Yes, it will be really more, it will be more comprehensive. But if I search education and not early childhood education, that would be more restrictive. Yes, I will limit the search only to education, but not early childhood. I will search for probably elementary onwards. So that is why these words have been studied, the Boolean search has been developed so that it can help us. And the document you have on Educandos is very clear about the topic to help us in the search. In the search of terms, concepts. What are we searching for? Remember, the professor today told us if you are conducting a wrong search, you're looking for the wrong concept, then you will lose that time and probably not find anything. So you have to be very precise on what you need. Therefore, I have just made a summary of what we were explained today, how to access ProQuest. And I would like you to be divided in groups, in pairs, so that you think in with your classmates again about the topic. And you're able to open your ProQuest One Academic account to do this search, so that we are real sure that you can find at least one article that I asked you last week, so that you can explain why did you look for it. Remember, you had some framework, so some frame sentences to help you explain why it was important, why would you recommend it, and what is it about. Remember the main questions, the critical questions we asked the article. With that finished, you have all the tools to finish task 4. Yes, and be able to share your findings with your classmates before we start the presentation, the introduction of workshop 2, in which this process of finding will be more developed. That's why it is important that you search how to begin with your search. Okay, so we know that going to the website of the University of Talca, we will do the process. University, before we go to working in groups. Okay. I have closed it. Okay, but it's here, Sistema de Bibliotecas de la Universidad de Talca. By going there, as we were explained today, you go to Fuentes de Información, Bases de Datos. And you already commented, you have used some of these bases de datos before. So that is good, you're not new. And you go to ProQuest Academic Acceso Remote. In there, you have to add here your root, your password and access. So can you all do this? This is something you need to be sure you can do. Otherwise, we have to ask for help. Okay? And we access ProQuest. So if you go here, yes, you can create an account or connect to an account. So I recommend you that now, when we go to working groups, you create your accounts, yes, and discuss on this topic. So you will have two things to report when we come back. The topic you have decided upon, even if it is very general, it doesn't matter, it's the first step. And then that you have created your account and you have conducted a search. Remember, you have todos, or you can concentrate on revistas científicas. So we go to the academic journals and we don't spend time on the others. Then you can search in the others, on the other resources. But for the time being, let us concentrate on revistas científicas to make it more precise. Is that clear? ¿Estamos claros?
Yes.
Did you have some time to check, to discuss, and to access ProQuest One Academic? I hope. I will also add the steps in Spanish in the PPT so everyone can have it. And now it will be your time, your turn to share some findings or some ideas that you had. And so I will add all of the steps in Spanish for you to follow with ProQuest One Academic and create your account. Then you can search, continue with the search as we were explained by the librarian, and try to make those searches that can help you find more specific materials. Yes, if you start with very general concept as coronavirus, for example, or classroom management, I was talking with the girls, then you will find an enormous amount of materials. But if you start reducing that search, then it can be more specific towards what you're looking for. So for example, classroom environment in virtual classes with children can be more reduced than just classroom environment. That was one example. Okay, any of you would like to share what you found? For example, Lucas had an interesting search, an article. Would you like to share, Lucas? Are you there somewhere? Would you like to share your just to give an example? Remember that for the task, you needed to the last task 4, you needed to find one article, yes, related to a topic in education. It could be any issue, any problem, or just a topic in education in the last 5 years, 6 years, that is related to your interest. And then be able to copy the reference that's in the task, and also be able to give some brief reference about that article. So what it is about, why it is important for your topic, and why would you recommend it to others, as if they were interested in the topic. Okay, who would like to share? Lucas, would you like to share your example? It's not right or wrong. I'm not judging right or wrong. It's just showing an example so that we all have an idea of how to finish task 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes?
Yes, yes. I'm going to share this.
Lucas? Yes, you can share, Lucas. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so this is the article.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
using that is the example of my task of
Mhm.
because now we were looking for e for la
I-
TIC
ICT, yes.
on
Uh-huh.
ICT and that.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
the example is using visual supports to teach English language learners in physical education.
Education. Okay. Yeah, interesting.
The authors are Wong Tang and Megan Fujiko. I don't know how to say.
Fujiko. Mhm.
From Department of Teacher Education, California State University
University. Mhm.
and Francis
Long
Blend
Beach.
School,
Yes, at Long Beach.
respectively. The main idea of the article is to provide or support to physical education teachers to how to teach to students from ELL, which are Afro-American students and don't understand most of the things that teachers teach
Teachers
in,
say. Uh-huh. Okay.
in the classroom.
Yes.
The author explained that teachers need to apply other techniques and strategies to teach them, such as visual support to give them the opportunity to participate in physical education class. And from this article, I learned that multiculturalism is a reality in everywhere, and we need to be prepared for that. So
Yeah.
we need to develop new strategies and techniques for that moment that will help us to teach better for our foreign students.
Yes. Excellent.
I recommend this article because as a future teachers, we must have a variety of strategies and techniques
Techniques.
to teach contents. Also, we must be ready to teach in a multicultural class. And that's
Yes, exactly. Excellent, Lucas. That's an excellent message. Remember that it seems that we live in a monocultural society, but it's not true. And remember, this country has a lot of immigration from Haiti, for example, and those children also come to our schools and they don't speak in Spanish as a native language. So you might have a situation in which you need to you need to work with children that do not speak your same mother tongue or same mother tongue as other students, and they're multicultural, and you are in this situation. So multiculturality is a topic, is a transversal topic in education, and it's always present. We cannot forget about that. So it's a great topic, and the techniques you need, yes, and not only foreign students, but also students with different abilities. So there comes inclusion, yes. When we talk of students that learn that have different abilities, different backgrounds, and therefore, as teachers, you have to become skillful to have all of these classrooms that are so diverse. Okay, so that's a great example. Thank you, Lucas. Anyone else? I like the Sophia's topic about feminism in education. I like that very much. Probably it is more, it is because it is trendy today. I'm not sure, but it's an interesting topic. Would you like to share, Sophia?
Yes, I need to share the task.
Yes, just this example, the same as Luca did, so that we all have an example on how to complete this task.
Okay. Okay. This is a summary so short.
Yes.
But the author explains because women need go to work and do things in the house, and we live discrimination every day. And for example, she speaks about how she go to university in Sydney, Australia, and she I don't know who say sufrir.
Suffer.
Suffer discrimination for the professors, and some classmates was lesbians and was so strange for the professor, so was so sad. But with feminists and combat this every day, we can change these attitudes of the professor. So it's so sad the experience, but is exceed the hope for change the system.
Yes, exactly. And you can have these gender topics at all in different levels. Yes, for example, from the view of students that are discriminated on their gender identification, professors that are discriminated in academia because of their sex or gender, women mostly. Men tend to have their own groups, their own academic groups, and leave women aside. Also, men earn more grants. ¿Sí? Pueden ganar más apoyos del Estado o becas del Estado to conduct research. For example, so yes, all of this talks about how much women need to be empowered in their job, in education. Being women, the ones that have been in education for centuries, we need more empowerment just to have equal rights and to be considered at the same level. Yes. Excellent.
When I research information or investigation, I think in, for example, in mathematics, sometimes said the men are better than women. So I think in this aspect of education, or I don't know, I remember that of in the school, sometimes one professor said, oh, okay, the women don't have boyfriends because it's a bad idea, but men, yes, so women, I don't know. So
yes,
I think these things are important to educate the children.
Yes, exactly. And also all these preconceptions that women are the ones that have to be teachers because they're women, so you're women or your mothers, potential mothers, so you will be a good teacher and you can teach early childhood, in early childhood levels. So, and that only needs to be women. That's not true, absolutely not true. It's a prejudice, stereotype. So you are future teachers of different levels of students, and you need to be able to question those stereotypes. Excellent, excellent topic, Sophia. Yes, women, yes, exactly. Liselda gives the example that women play handball, for example, and men football. Yes, but more and more I have seen the Chilean football, soccer team, women's soccer team is becoming more and more powerful, for example. So that's another level of empowerment. Women have had to prove that they can pilot an airplane, for example, Land Chile has, or LATAM, former Land Chile, sorry, LATAM has women pilots. I saw one of them in one of my trips. So women have had to prove that they can do different things, pilot a plane, go to war, play soccer. It's incredible, but yes, we are all the time proving ourselves, we girls, but we are strong and we will be able to win this battle. It's only a cultural battle that we need to give. Okay, so I like your topics. There are still more topics. Anything else you would like to share? Daniela, Barbara, Camila, any topic that you have talked about? But we need to be sure you can search for those articles, even if you're working alone, and then you can share with your classmate. But we need to be sure you can share. You can look up for these materials to advance more quickly.
Yes.
Okay, so I am happy it was a productive morning, because this is something we need to learn how to do. And as we listen to the librarian, it is an exercise that you have to conduct yourselves and learn how to do it. And become proactive also in asking for help in case you are lost or you get lost. Before going to Google, which is a very easy tool, but can lead you to non-recommendable sources. So that is why it is more important that you learn good habits in searching for academic resources before going to Google, because if I am searching for a certain author, a certain article, I can look up in Google because I know what I am looking for. If not, it's not recommendable, okay? So I wanted to introduce, before finishing, just 5 minutes, the last section, the last section of the unit will be to identify general characteristics of qualitative, quantitative, and mixed research methods and their use in education, because you're going to be searching all of these articles. And in that search, in that analysis, you will be able to compile the knowledge you have had or you have been gathering up to this moment. So this is the last topic. For this last topic, I will share with you workshop 2 task, which includes this brainstorming idea. So I looked up for this image. I liked it more than just the spider web graphic organizer, which we have used so much, and ask you to reflect on this. Yes, so on these topics. Next class, we will just go quickly through a revision so that we can start with the actual practical part of the workshop. Yes. So how much do you know about research methods? You have read a little bit along the semester. Probably you remember something. And what would you like to know? And this is an important question. What can you tell me? What would you like to learn about research methods? What is something that calls your attention you would like to know?
I don't, Miss, lo diré en español. Pasa que me llama la atención la investigación, como el encontrar información relevante y que sea contundente lo suficiente como para saber que es así y que no varía. Me gusta como que sea, pucha, es que es académico, pues, no puede ser subjetivo, no puede no ser así. Y pasa que no sé si la pregunta iba relacionada a algún tema en específico que nos gustaría a nosotros aprender, o si es respecto al módulo, las expectativas que tenemos con el módulo.
No, it's about methods. No, we're focusing on research methods because we saw research philosophy. Remember, we talked in the different chapters about different areas of our research project. The area of literature review, also a little bit about theory and philosophy, how to organize our arguments and premises within the text. And we haven't talked anything about the methods, about how to conduct these projects. So I think what Barbara says is true, not absolutely true. Not everything in research is absolute truth. Yes.
Yes.
There are other options, but nevertheless, I think you would like to know how to. Yes, the how how to conduct. And for this conduction of research is that how to conduct research. And in that case is that we need to also analyze different situations in order to make decisions. And this is something that we will be talking about when reading and watching a short video about qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method. Yes. When do you use each of them? This workshop task also considers that you search in a dictionary, but focusing on research. So that means we have certain terminology that we need to clarify, but within the area of research, because you will find different areas. So the meaning of the words in very different areas of knowledge. So try to think of the area nearest to research. In that sense, we will be searching for finding this information we need. Yes, remember we had a task like this, an exercise in which you were looking for different concepts, and you wrote everything you found in the dictionary. But therefore, I am warning you, within the area of research. So methodology is very general, but in research, which of all those meanings can be more, can explain better within the area of research. And so we have methodology, approach. Probably we need to have approach and methodology. This is also used in education, for example, this terminology, yes. So how can we understand this better in research? Then research design, method, because we also use it in education. In our classes from last semester and in practicum, we also talk about methods, but that's methods in teaching, yes, okay, so we know that area. Now it's methods in research, it's a new area. And techniques, which we also use in teaching, so it can be misleading, nos puede llevar a un camino que no es, yes, so again, we have to focus on the topic of research. And again, what Barbara was saying is always connected to research, yes? Validity, the truthfulness of what we do. Even if we cannot always search in our research method, in our research projects that we look for absolute truth, yes? Those that focus, that would be for positivists. We are positivists, and in this school of philosophy, do you remember? They search for absolute truths, and they see the world as absolute and describable in that absolute truth. On the other side, interpretivists, on the side on which I am, for example, we don't believe this world is absolute, an absolute truth. Yes, no, absolutely true. We look for truthfulness, nevertheless, in that we apply a method to the best of our knowledge, that we try to represent, understand, describe, interpret that reality in the best of our knowledge, to the best of our knowledge, respecting that reality. But I cannot absolutely say I'm going to be absolutely objective, yes? And objectivity, there are degrees to this objectivity. I need to be truthful. We read that in Walliman, to be truthful to my participants' words and voices. But it's not absolutely objective in my point of view, from my paradigm, since I will also be involved, and my own experiences will be involved in the research. I have to explain that, but I don't have to let it outside. This is not true. And reliability, there should be consistency. Of course, in some occasions, we will find that our findings as interpretivists is consistent with what has been found before or in some other settings. Nevertheless, We have to be open also to some new findings, and also know that by means of method, we can, others can replicate that, that study and probably arrive at the same conclusions or probably a little bit different. So repeatability is present also in other methods that are not necessarily those that follow the positivist paradigm. This is only just revision of what we saw in our first classes. So this is a brief introduction, yes, on qualitative and quantitative. Yes, when we were searching for conclusive, yes, we said as this view of Barbara's, this conclusive results in which we take into account larger populations. Yes, I am trying to get to this truth, but try to be more conclusive than just exploratory or descriptive. Yes, though there is some areas in which qualitative research can also be descriptive. Here in qualitative, we search for meaning. Remember, we care about experiences, perceptions, more the subjective view of phenomena. And we try to be more exploratory or descriptive or interpretive. And therefore, we're looking for more than what or where just to find an absolute answer or a conclusive answer. We are trying to look for the way, yes, how or why things happen. And therefore, it's a different view of reality. If we have different views of reality according to what we are asking ourselves, what is our positioning towards science, and in general human phenomena, world phenomena. It's only that, it's nothing is absolutely right or wrong. Of course, we are not right or wrong. It depends on what we are searching for. And therefore, both methodologies are valid, and you're going to read about them. Plus, the option of mixed, in which the mixed method in which both are present. Yes, and you're going to read about it and finish a chart. We will, I was planning to do it today, but we don't have the time to do it today, so we will catch up from here next class. What I want to is to finish the pre-reading task, just to go more, yes, to be more productive. But in this week, please also try to finish past tasks, so so you can be finished with that. By the end, the idea is that you finish an agenda matrix, and this is why I was so interested that you that you learn how to find articles, because here you will be required to search for the articles with a reference here, a complete reference. Then we will practice also how to read, how to find information, so that you find information in regards what is the research about. More or less, you were doing this in this previous search that you did. The study methods, remember, we will be searching for academic, for research studies, not theoretical articles, yes, which you can also find, but these are studies, yes, so there will be a description of methods, participants, data collection process, and conclusions. Just to make it brief and quick, this will be the end, the last element of workshop 2. And for me, it is very important. Then you will report it in very brief reports, as we saw today in class. But the most important thing is that you learn how to search and find the topics of your interest. And this is the basis of that project I was talking about earlier. Yeah? So that is why it is important to learn how to do it. Okay, so we will have plenty to do next class in revising the methodology, but also, again, discussing on topics and searching these research articles for your agenda. Okay, so coming to the end of the class, it's our time for reflection. 3 things that you learn, well, at the least, the most important thing that you learned today. Okay, let me check if I can write. Okay, anyone?
Profesora no está compartiendo pantalla.
Okay, sorry. Did you see the first one, the previous one?
No.
You see the, okay, so the research agenda is this one. I was explaining that you will have the, to find the reference, the article. Remember, we learned today that in RefWorks, you have the reference of the article, what the research study is about, the methods, the participants, the process of data collection, what did they do to collect data, and the conclusions, the implications. And therefore, that is why it is so important that you learn to search for these articles and resources that are recommendable and that are truly academic, so that this is the basis for your future pre-project. That is the last task in the semester. So this is why it was so important that you attended today the workshop. Okay, so time for reflection. I was asking you for 3 things, or well, at the least one, the most important thing you learned today, you discussed today.
How research information.
Thing I learned today. Yes, how to search for information, yes.
How use the resource that the university offers.
Yes, on search engines. So these are search engines in general. Is this reference of platforms in which we search for academic work. Barbara was saying how to use the resources. Yes.
Yes,
The
that
resources.
the university offers to us, like students.
Yes, and academicians, yes, from the University of Talca. Yes, and we need to use them so that we continue having these resources for research. So this is very important, for sure. Any question that you would like to ask? Remember, you also need to reflect on this topic, okay? So for next class with the agenda, you need to have this discussion done. Okay? Do we agree? Ya los pares tienen que tener la discusión para aprovechar la clase que viene en buscar los artículos de la agenda. Yes? Para no invertir más tiempo en eso. Okay, so this is something you need to have done. Yes, so it is important to decide on a topic. So this is something we learned today. It is important to decide on a topic of interest to work in the groups, okay? To work in the workshop 2 task. In pairs or groups in case we need to work in 3s, but we will see that in due time, yes, according to need. All right, so what is our agreement? So we always have agreements. The next class is on the 20th, and that will be a week before we have the free week. So you always need to check materials on Educandos. Everything will be on Educandos, PDFs that you need to read, extra articles, the book, if you need to read the book, everything is there. So check materials for task 4. So task 4 has to be finished. We check today the final section. So you are absolutely informed on what to do, how to finish that task. In a reference to the new, so you will have download the new document, download the workshop 2 document, and start working with the pre-reading section. So we have that done to continue with the while reading and the post-reading next class. It will be a class in which we are working, yes, to finish that morning as much as possible. If we finish everything, the better, okay? So all of our classes will be like that, just practical doing things so that we don't have to invest more time during the week. Download the workshop 2 task and finish the pre-reading task, the pre-reading exercises. All right. Then contact me in case you need more support, in case you cannot access the one ProQuest one academic, in any case. And of course, I always remind you to keep connected in some ways, because we are always discussing something that is important and you need to for the module. Okay, any questions? Any other questions you would like to ask? We are ready for today. Yes.
Yes. The workshop we finish in class the next week. The workshop 2.
Yes, workshop 2. So that we use the time of the morning to work. We don't have to invest more time. And remember, we are trying to begin June, yes, with the final task, that is the project. So we dedicate our time to that. So that would be ideal. Ese es el caso ideal de que en junio estemos trabajando ya con la última tarea. Penúltima, sorry. The last one is a quiz online, but that is just very easy. But the project is the one that takes more time, because you have to search for information, write down, elaborate the discourse. So we will need more time for that. So it would be ideal if we finish workshop 2 next class. Okay.